Welcome at the ETOE paint job. As you can see, I'm right in the middle of a big helmet custom painting project, but this video is my second Q&A about your spray paint questions. As you might know, I got hundreds of private messages and mails every week from you asking me different things about custom painting, but sadly I don't have the time to answer every of these messages separately, so I do a video every month of the 10 most important questions you asked me about custom painting. And if you have a question, leave it underneath the video in the comments, and maybe next month I pick your question and you can find the answer in my next Q&A. Check also my first Q&A, the January Q&A, and maybe your answer is already there. But now let's go ahead with the 10 most important questions you asked me in February. Mario Bird asked, my question, how long must I wait before I can remove my decals after painting? Yeah, and that's the most asked question of all times. Hundreds of people asked me this question in mostly of every of my videos. So I like to give you the answer and I like to show you how I do it. That's a stencil left over from my helmet project. So let's stick it on. I use a piece of screen printed MDF. These are my test sheets. These are perfect to test colors or to test color combinations. So let's stick it on. And now let's spray the color. I like to show it live. So let's spray on some color. And I can remove the stencil immediately. That's an answer, but that's not the complete answer, and it's also not a general answer. Because the time you need or the time you have to wait until you can remove your stencils depends at first on the color you use, if there are a lot of solvents in the color or not. At second, on the temperature in your room or your environment, and at third, of the humidity in your environment or your paint booth. So I have no general answer. You have seen if I use an airbrush and airbrush color, I can use the stencil immediately. If I use a spray can, I have to wait maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes. If it's cold outside, I have to wait maybe half an hour or maybe an hour. So there's absolutely no general answer. And what I recommend every time, 2 test pieces at the day where you like to paint, in the environment where you like to paint, at the temperature where you like to paint. And when you do these test pieces, you can find out if you have sharp edges or not. And as you can see, I have these test pieces lying around when I do these projects. So that's what I recommend. And that is my answer. Next question. Carrie Rapp asked, thank you for your helpful videos. Thanks also, Carrie. My question. My base color is dark blue pearl. Should I use a black primer for better base coat coverage, or will basic gray work as well? And my answer is every primer works, but I recommend to use a dark primer if you use dark colors and to use a light primer if you use light colors. Check this helmet. I use the light gray, and what I use, I already painted the shield, are light colors like a light yellow and a light blue. So if I use a light primer, it saves me a lot of color, and saving a lot of color saves not only money, it's also needed for a perfect surface, because if you apply too much color, it can't cure very well and you don't have a high quality paint job. So you have to save color, you have to paint thin layers, and you can paint thin layers if you use the right primer. So the answer is use a black primer or a dark primer if you use dark colors, like on this monster helmet I did 2 weeks ago. Maybe you have seen the video. If not, check the monster helmet video. That's a spray can DIY for all the DIYers out there. And if you use light colors, use also a light primer like this light gray or white. Next question. Arash asked, hi Martin, thanks for the video and taking time to answer the questions. Yeah, thank you also very much, Arash. And he asked, how does one prepare anodized parts for painting? Do I need to sand them down to the bare metal or just rough up the surface? That's a very good question. Sometimes you have these chain rings, or the most parts you paint are stems or sometimes cranksets which are anodized, And you have to remove the anodizing completely. Every time you can't paint on anodized parts the color, even if you primer it won't stick, primers won't stick, so you have to remove the anodizing. You can do it with chemicals, you can sand these parts, or you can do a media blasting. Don't do sandblasting on aluminum parts because it's a soft metal and you will damage the metal. So use media blasting or some chemicals, or do it by hand with sanding. And you have to remove the complete anodizing. Okay? Primers won't stick on anodizing, also colors. Ian McDonald asked, "Hi Martin, question for your next Q&A video. How important is the nozzle and needle size depending on what you are painting?" Yeah, and I have a simple answer. It's not so important. I can show you my airbrushes I use for the helmet. These are all the airbrushes I use. I have them here, and they have all different needle and nozzle sizes. This one has a 0.08 needle nozzle combination. This one has a 0.5, and these two, I think, also 0.5. I already don't know them already. Yeah, already. Yeah, and the importance is not the needle nozzle size, it's the needle itself. Maybe I can show you what I mean. Hopefully. Let's check these two needles. They are both 0.5 needles, but they are made different. I hope you can see this. That's a short needle and that's a long needle. Can you see the difference? And this needle has a much longer travel than this one. If I push it backwards, I can spray more color with the same travel like with this needle. The cone of this needle is much longer than on this one, so I have a short travel needle and a long travel needle. And I recommend every time a long travel needle because the trigger is much easier to use and you can spray much finer lines, also bigger lines. If you have a short needle, you can spray only thicker lines. That's my answer. So yeah, it's not so important what needle nozzle size you use. I can use also little spray guns to paint this helmet. It would give the same result. So if you have only a mini spray gun, that's also okay if you like to paint a helmet like this. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. It's not so important if you use a 0.5 or 0.8 needle. It doesn't matter. Wheelers at Large asked, "Great work on your channel. Fun too." Yeah, thanks Wheelers at Large. And he likes to know, question, is there a decent transparent reflective paint for bike frames, preferably one that works under clear coat? And the simple answer is no. All these reflective coatings are made with glass bead, with little glass balls and bowls, and they lay on top of a layer. And the reflection of the glass bowl makes the reflection of the color. And if you put a layer of clear coat on these glass bowls, you won't have this reflection. The reflection of the glass bowl is maybe this, incoming light, outcoming light, incoming light, outcoming light. And if you put a clear coat on this surface, you have an absolutely different reflection. Maybe incoming light, outcoming light. So incoming light, outcoming light. And there's no reflection. Or the color is shady, you have only some spots where the reflection happens and other spots have no reflection. And if you want the reflective parts, you need to use a sticker or you have to screen print. That's the only solution you can use. You cannot use these paints in a spray can version or in a spray paint version. It won't work because of the different reflection if you add any clear coats or any intercoats. Okay? So again, the reflection differs. You have these glass balls in these coatings. Incoming, outcoming light, that's reflective. And if you put clear coat on top, you have a different reflection. Incoming light, outcoming light, no reflection. Next question. Angelos Franzulis asked, "Hi Martin, what do you think about bike rim painting? I painted some rims some time ago, but they are getting loud when braking. Do you have any suggestions?" Yeah, in my last video I did a reaction, check my reaction video. A young girl painted also rims, and I like to show you again what you have to take care of. And if you have rims like these, which are rim brake, don't paint the areas where the brake pads hit the rim, because it's a safety risk. You can't paint the areas where the brake pads hit the rim, okay? Please don't do that, never, okay? Check the reaction video, you can see what happens. Yeah, the brake result is absolutely horrible. If you have disc brake reels like this, you can paint the complete rim, that's no problem. But this rim's anodized, so you have to remove the anodizing first, then you can paint the complete rim. If you have a rim brake reel, mask the areas where the brake pads hit the rim and paint only the areas where no brake pads hit the rim, okay? That's what I can recommend. It's a safety risk, think about that, so don't paint any of these parts if you have rim brakes. Next question. Ghost Temple asked, how to do perfect measurement for masking? Yeah, that's very simple. I can show you how I do it. And yeah, let's check this shield. That's the shield with the graphics on. And here you can see different yellow graphics. And check this. I have to turn it around because I have only the left side. That's what I did. I used a sheet of masking paper and I sticked it onto the shield. Like this, check this, I sticked it on. I used a Sharpie or a marker or whatever you have laying around, like this. I traced the lines where I like to do a mask. I put this mask on a scanner. The scanner is right in front of me, you can't see it. I put it on the scanner, I scan it into my computer, and I do a stencil with Adobe Illustrator. I cut out the stencil with a sign maker and I use it as a stencil. Yeah, you have seen it a lot in my videos. That's how I do the measurement and the masking for these helmets, for bikes, and whatever I like to paint. Next question. Swamp84 asked, hi Martin, I love how you creative you are with your work and as well the finishes. Thanks a lot, Swamp. My question to you is, are you able to enjoy the designs and creations you make for customers? That's a hard question because the simple answer is no. Most of the designs are not so impressive for me because I have an absolutely different taste like most of my customers, but I'm a graduated designer and that's my job. So yeah, that's what I have to do. And I do most designs several times, maybe 10 times, maybe 20 times. And yeah, when you do it the first time, it's impressive. And when you do it the 10th time, it's no longer impressive. And yeah, my personal taste is not the taste of my customers. That's what I can say. So yeah, that's the answer. I don't enjoy every of these designs, but I enjoy the work of painting. I enjoy painting these helmets. I enjoy painting bike. Doesn't matter what design. So that's my answer. Wilbert Balonzo asked, Wilbert, can I spray clear coat paint on a polished aluminum frame? And the simple answer is, no, you can't. You can't paint polished parts. You need a special primer. It's very expensive. I can't recommend the primer because it's not available online. So please don't paint any polished parts. Please don't paint these anodized parts. And please don't apply clear coat direct on carbon. You need a special transparent primer. I cannot recommend the primer because it's not available. Next and last question. Angel007 asked, hi Martin, I'm in the process of DIY painting my Trek carbon fiber bike. I painted my second coat of 2K epoxy primer and sanded after a couple of... Can you see me? What a long question. Okay, can you see me? I noticed that there are some small areas that are showing through the carbon fiber. I used 800 grit of the second coat. Is it okay to paint a third coat of epoxy primer in order to get a solid base? Can you paint too many coats of epoxy primer? Or can I move on and paint the first coat of Montana Shock white? Okay, I think the question is, can you paint too much primer on parts? Yes, you can. Please don't apply too much primer. A thick first layer and the second layer are absolutely enough. You can see it on the helmet. I applied only one layer of primer. Sometimes you remove some primer. You can see it maybe here. So you can primer only this little spot. Don't primer the complete helmet or bike. You need a thin layer. It should only cover the surface and it should produce a smooth surface. Don't apply too much layers. They won't cure well, and yeah, the quality of your paint job suffers a lot if you apply too much primer or color. So please don't apply too much layers. Only 1 or 2 layers are enough. Sand it down every time so you can remove some of the material if you have to apply some more. Also some color, and when you've done that, you are fine for a good paint job. Okay, these are all the 10 questions. If you have some more, leave it underneath the video in the video description. Thanks for watching. Check also my custom painting videos and see you next time with a big project, the helmet painting video. See you and have fun painting your own projects.